Now let's read the first story. We got this from Breitbart. CNN's Enton. Polling shows GOP will take huge House majority, best position in over 80 years. This is fascinating. He said, quote, I would say they're looking very good from the historical context. Basically, I took the best Republican positions on the generic congressional ballot at this point in the midterm cycle since 1938. The generic ballot basically is, would you vote for the generic Republican or generic Democrat in your district? And guess what? Since 1938, the Republican 2-point lead on the generic congressional ballot is the best position for Republicans at this point in any midterm cycle in over 80 years. It beats 2010 when Republicans were up a point. It beats 2014, 2002, 1998, where Democrats led by a point. And in all of those 4 prior examples that make this list of the top 5, look at that. Who won a majority? It was the Republicans who won a majority. He added, now, of course, the election is not being held tomorrow, and we'll see. Sometimes history isn't always prologue, but my estimate for the 2023 House makeup, if the election were held today, which again it isn't, we're still 5 months from tomorrow, would be Republicans 236 seats to 241 seats, Democrats 194 to 199. That's based off of a formula of seat-to-seat race ratings from the Cook Political Report and Inside Elections. Now, this is coming from CNN, data reporter on Jake Tapper's show. Perhaps, hearing that's coming from CNN, it must be even worse. The fascinating thing is there was an article from the Washington Post that was like, Democrats are going to lose the midterms. Here's why it's a good thing. My favorite line in their opening paragraph is, every poll can't be wrong. They're basically saying, Republicans, right. They're like, Republicans are going to win. And, you know, as much as people might not want to believe it, every poll can't be wrong. And I just laughed because I'm like, not only are all of the polls wrong, but they're actually wrong in favor of Republicans. Right. I'm sorry, they're wrong in favor of Democrats, meaning if every poll right now is saying Republicans are going to win, and it's like the generic ballot is +2 GOP, it's probably +7 GOP or +10. So this is going to be amazing. Yeah. Luke, you were excited to be disappointed.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think it's very fair to say that there definitely is a political transformation. I question a lot of the polls that are out there, but I think that this political transformation that's happening is a precursor to the economic transformation that we're seeing under the Biden administration and under the previous administration that essentially is creating one of the largest transfers of wealth from the poorest people to the richest people. We saw this from the beginning of COVID. We saw this with the secret Federal Reserve bailouts. We're seeing the effects of this. The effects of this are being felt everywhere. I forgot which corporate media network was interviewing a random person at the gas pump just a couple hours ago. The video is going viral on Twitter because the person being interviewed is like, this is absolutely insane. This is going to motivate me to get politically involved, and I'm going to be voting for the Republicans. And this was a person who was previously a Democrat before, who publicly is stating this. So obviously, this larger political transformation has a lot to do with our current financial situation, which is absolutely ruined and left a lot of people in havoc.
I fully agree with that, man. It strikes me as like political football. The pendulum is swinging both directions. CNN's happy because they're either going to trash Trump or trash Trump. And but it's an economic crisis, and it's a transformation economically, either into some World Economic Forum, you'll own nothing and be happy, renters world, or something that we control into some sort of maybe, you know, democratically cryptographic, you know, decentralized, something new that hasn't been created yet.
Who knew stealing people's ability to have upward economic mobility was unpopular? Yeah. Who knew giving corporate bailouts was unpopular? Who knew raising gas prices, stopping domestic energy production was unpopular? Obviously, people are feeling it. No lies, no propaganda could cut through the reality of the horrible situation that we're all facing.
And what are Republicans going to do?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. You are going to be disappointed is always the answer.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
No, I mean, but it's so frustrating because this is such a moment, and I don't feel like Republicans are really they're talking about sort of opening domestic energy production, but I don't feel like anyone in power sort of understands what is actually happening with American families. I am in a Facebook group for large families, and it's a really fascinating window into a lot of different sort of ways of life. And the number of posts that people are making, like, how can I stretch rice and beans? What different recipes can I do? How can I be creative cooking for 10 people?
Well, I'll tell you, different types of vinegar. Different types of vinegar and different types of oil give you all these different combinations of flavor.
Ian, we were ordering supplies, and Ian was like, just buy a bunch of vinegar, and we got 20
your
gallons.
White wine vinegar, your red wine vinegar, your tarragon vinegar, your malt vinegar, your balsamic vinegar, your coconut oil, your avocado oil, your olive oil.
You see what they do in Haiti? Mud cake. You take mud and you put a little sugar and salt and butter in it, and then you flatten it out, and the mud is like not food, but it fills your stomach, so it doesn't hurt anymore.
I mean, we're not there yet, but they will regret making people care this much. It is impacting every corner of people's lives in a way that this will drive anger. I mean, they're talking about, abortion will fuel the midterm. Like, none of that will fuel the midterms. It is people driving to the gas tank and then not being able to go grocery shopping.